gentlemen, live!
You're in for a real treat.
Now, when it comes to you, I have a few unanswered questions.
You're listening to the 88.3 Southern FM Sunday Live Sessions.
Indeed you are. And the last track you heard, just as we came into the live Sunday Sessions, was Out of Control by Tin Alley. Tin Alley will be our guest next week, but more exciting than that is right now, our guest this week, Mr. Frank Falvo. Good afternoon, Frank.
G'day, Mark. How are you?
Fantastic. Great to meet you in person.
Great to meet you, and it's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, good.
Finally, after 2 months.
Hey, where have you come from, Frank?
In hiding. Look, I gave up my bank job probably 5 years ago to give a good fist of music.
That is an awesome story.
Yeah.
From bank manager to, I'm going to throw it all away. I'm going to take a sea change into music.
Look, I've been involved in music since I was very, very young, years and years ago. So I've been sort of in and out, but I've been flat out in music for probably the last 5 years. I've been writing, recording songs, doing music videos, been on Rage with the music video, on Asylum, done a lot of gigs around Melbourne. So
what precipitated the move? Because it's a big leap of faith to take, because we know there's not a lot of, apart from the upper echelon, the superstars of music, there's not a lot of money in it, and you've not taken the safe path.
Well, look, it was probably because there was probably no choice because of where the banking industry was going. Redundancies are a fact of life, and I had a few management roles. And I wasn't feeling the love, right? There was definitely no love there.
And let's be honest, you get moved around too.
You get moved around along. Look, and I had a lot of clients because I was looking after the branches. They were management roles. And the clients were starting to come back to me. And look, some of the changes weren't from my doing. There were takeovers, there were mergers. So I thought, look, I'll just go back into what my real passion is. My two passions are money, because I wish it was mine, but dealing with people to buy properties, how to buy properties, that's my first passion. I've been doing that since I was a kid because I graduated in finance. And my other passion was music. Yeah. So I thought I'd just get stuck into it. So I was on the YouTube thing and I did heaps of lessons and away we went. So it was probably from, no real choice of my own.
You've got a gentle shove.
Yeah, you could say that, but it was good.
It was a leap you were happy to take. And
look, it is. Look, it's not dramatic money in music. You know what the music industry is going through, but it's a passion. I enjoy writing, and look, my first object is I want to get my stuff published because I see myself principally as a songwriter.
Yeah, well, there's certainly plenty of material. We're going to hear some of that great material. Lots of originals and maybe a sneaky cover or two. We'll talk about them later. But in the meantime, let's rip into your first track. Tell us all about it, Frank.
Okay, this one's Save Me From Myself. Look, this one's been inspired by all the foreclosures and from a couple of years ago, all the houses that were isolated, all the apartments and all the estates all over Europe that were foreclosures going on all over the place. So I thought I'd write a song about it. You can actually draw a comparison between people and a house. So this song is called Save Me From Myself.
Awesome start from Frank Falvo. Live Sunday Sessions on 88.3. Great start, Frank, and really enjoyed that. And it's still a topical story behind that track. The story that you told before it.
Yeah.
Europe, the USA, foreclosing.
It's still going on.
Legitimate tactic by the bank.
You can see I've been in the mortgage game, can't you? Look, it sort of just hit me when I saw all those images, and there was, on 60 Minutes and on these four corners, there was a lot of desolation and a lot of sadness.
Is it typical of your songwriting that you draw from things that you've seen or come across in life?
It is. Look, everyone's got this autobiography thing about songwriters. We've got to experience everything.
Which is not necessarily always.
No,
okay,
look, it's
things you see.
We write stories. I write stories, and I get inspired by what I see. Observations, like that one. History. I've written songs about history. And look, a lot of times I might go back 20, 30 years from an inspiration that takes me back a long time.
Well, we need to be inspired once again. Please ramp up for another track.
You are listening to the Sunday Live Sessions on 88.3 Southern FM.
And it is the Sunday Live Sessions. It is with our very special guest today, Frank Falvo, sounding fantastic, Frank.
Thanks very much, Mark.
It is, it's
I'm
really
having
sounding
fun.
good.
Look, and thank you guys for having me on the show. It's a pleasure.
Well, listeners of Southern FM would know some of your stuff because you were kind enough to send us a guy like me and Movement in White some times ago, and we've been playing them from time to time on our Australian independent music programs, which we do have here at Southern FM. But what I do also need to tell the listeners is, if they SMS us, which is the number being 0404 000 736, we have a number of copies of Frank's CD, which is called The Wind's on Fire, to give away to lucky listeners. So 0404 000 736.
Yep.
You are essentially a originals man. You write your own music.
Yeah, most definitely. I've been involved in the covers scene in bands and things, and I taught covers actually on YouTube. That was heaps of fun, but I'm just concentrating now just on my own song, because my ultimate goal is I want my songs published or either performed. Because I was a vocalist, there was nobody else to sing my songs, and that's what I've always been doing. So because I was a vocalist, I sang my own songs, so I can actually perform them. But where I really want to do is have originals published and get a band together. That's what I've been trying to do. It's a big ask, but I'd ideally like to have a band, because my voice is more rock orientated, Mark.
Do you think it's is it fair? Is it a fair assumption to say that people actually write songs for their own voice, or in general terms?
Well, I'd say yes, because I can hear how the song is, and I can hear how the song should be sung, because obviously I've written it. So you're probably right.
It's an interesting thing, isn't it? You think of people like perhaps Mark Knopfler out of Dire Straits, who's got not a great voice, but it suits the music.
That's right.
Bob Dylan is probably a different case in point, because so many people have covered so many songs in different styles. It doesn't quite work. But, of course, when he did the songs originally, they suited his voice.
But it's all about going to your strengths, and songwriters obviously will do that. So if their strength is not so much their voice, they'll do songs that will accommodate their voice, like Bob Dylan, Mark Knopfler and all those guys, which, a lot of people in the early days probably said Rod Stewart's voice wasn't very good, but it was very different. Even though I don't know if he actually wrote, but the songs are written for his style through through the small, I think he was in the
Small
Faces. No, not the small faces.
It was just the Faces.
That was just the Faces, when he started off. So you're probably right. We do write for our, but I'd always like to get involved. With some of my songs, I see certain artists doing them, and I would enjoy actually working with a major artist and sort of saying, look, this is how I sang it. How do you see it?
We can have a little twist of interpretation here for sure, but geez, you're giving our ages away too, Frank. You're talking about the Faces in the late 60s.
Well, they're all classic stuff. You've got to actually know those. I think there's actually a lot of teenagers. You'd be surprised, because I'm on YouTube. I'm a partner there, and you'd be surprised how many teenagers actually put up some of the old Beatles stuff, and they love getting into it. Because what have they got now? They've got the generic Justin Bieber stuff now to listen to,
which is tragic, kind of, really.
It's all generic. It's all about teen sensations getting on Australian Idol and being a generic star.
Look, Justin Bieber is clearly a very talented young man.
Oh, look,
but I tried to play one of his songs
stuff
on air the other day, and
look, he can perform. There's no doubt he can perform.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, he's a teen sensation that everyone's going for the image at the moment. And look, it is one of my concerns. I just don't like to see the art of music disappearing. Look, I've got no problems with Justin. He's a very good Justin Bieber. He's a very good performer. He's a teen sensation. But I've got concerns about the art of music dying. That's where I'm all about.
Because music's about heart and soul.
It is very much about heart and soul. I'm just concerned where I see everything. It's all getting about getting on Australian Idol. Everything's got to be very rapid. You've got to be a star overnight. And it just doesn't happen. You've got to do the hard
Got to do your chops, got to earn your chops, and what you say is absolutely right. How can you do a song with feeling when you don't know what feelings are?
Yeah, no, look, you've got to do the hard yards. And the thing is, once you lose your credibility, you're not going to get it back. That's the problem with Australia. Unless you're a Guy Sebastian or someone really good, once you start doing the major stuff with covers on a television scale, you're going to lose your clear. And if you're going to try and change to go back to an original performer,
You better be good.
You got to be bloody good.
Yeah. I think you're right too, Frank.
Yeah.